Hello! Hello. Oh, beard. Didn't spot that. It's been a busy week. I'm sorry, I'm switching on this thing 5 minutes early. So just making sure everything's up and running, everyone's here. Getting time to join in, making sure that I don't have the music too loud again this week. So welcome everyone. It's Thursday! And it's time for another stream. Hope you're having a good time. Or a good week. Alright. There's a slight more lag to the chat now because I have to up the latency slightly, so I won't be able to insta-read what you're saying. But still, nice to see everyone joining in here. Hello. All the usual suspects are here. I'm going to stare at the chat a little bit. We've got Al Einstein, we've got a person with a ridiculously long profile name. Avocado Fire's here, Morphex, Jen Abbott, Xavier, Shane. I'll just make up a lot of names as well, like Miguel. Oh, Miguel, you're here too. Yeah. Nice. And we've got Arvid. Well, he didn't depart. That sounded weird. He's probably going to be back. Andreas Brillen is here as well. Nice to see you guys, everyone. Hope you've had a good week. So, are you ready for some game dev? Glad påsk, Matthias says. Good, glad påsk to you too. It's Easter times. Very true. Hope everyone is doing really good. And I'm even going to allow that multiple hey there from William Gross. Welcome. Yeah, I'm officially starting this stream 4 minutes early here. So let's just chill out and have a cup of coffee again. This one is warm for a change. So nice. All right, so we've got Jay Sullivan. Been riding along with you for 6 months. Big love, Imphenzia. Well, I'm happy to have you by my side, riding shotgun. We're having a good time, I think, and learning game development stuff. It's a funny thing. It's always so many things to do, so many ideas. I bet everyone has got plenty of ideas on games they want to make, and we like just mess around with prototyping and trying to learn things. But I think that's half the fun anyway. So we got Anjo. Paulo de Santos. Sorry if I say your name wrong. Hello, Stefan. Your tutorials are amazing. Great. I'm actually learning myself at the moment. So, well, I'm always learning. But I'm trying to learn Unreal Engine 5. So it's been fun so far. Confusing, but fun. And I see the good and the bad. So I'm going to give you a little like a status update on this video. And say what I've learned, what I think is very different maybe, what's better, what's not better, and things like that. So Jen Abbott is heating up lunch right now. And you said something earlier in the chat, actually, Jen, which is I thought was really interesting. And you said not so much making games, but maybe more making assets for other game developers. And that has been a lot of my journey as well. When I started to create Unity assets in the asset store in 2011, I think, I sort of got tracked on to creating assets rather than making games. But I still did my Ludum Dares and some quirky little games, but never... apart from Line War, never went for that big proper game release. And it's quite easy. I compared it a little bit to selling spades during the gold rush, where trying to make a game is the gold rush thing, and selling the game assets, it's more of a reliable maybe income because you sell the assets, but it's not so, maybe it's lower risk and lower reward as well, because you don't get to create an asset that explodes in that way. Well, unless you make sound effects with explosions, which I did. That's quite funny. So, but very true. It's easy to get stuck in creating assets, but I think whatever you like to get an outlet for when you do stuff, whether it's creating the game itself or assets, because I've noticed maybe my strongest side isn't exactly game design. Luckily, I've got Christian to make a line work with me because he's really good at that. But I tend to do more like just content and creation of assets. So, but I'd like to learn a little bit more about game design, of course. So I'm just going to give everyone a little bit more of a chance. We've got 118 people already. This Unreal Engine thing seems to be a little bit hot. Like the food and coffee, and then watching from Kafenovich is making coffee. Nice. More Vex. Any chance of touching on why Unreal now? Yeah, sure. I'm really curious and still debating if I should take the plunge. I don't think it's maybe not necessarily so much of a plunge, because it's first of all, I think it's good to learn both engines, and I think they both have their uses. Of course, I would pick at the moment to the way I stand now. If I'm going to make if I'm not making a clone of a traditional third person or a first person shooter game, I'm leaning towards Unity because it's so much more, I think, flexible in terms of creating a game object and the hierarchy, and everything is there. It's like a toolbox where you just take everything that you need and mold it into what you want. You could do that in Unreal so far from what I've seen too, but everything seems to be a lot more stricter into the way things work, and I feel that it's really, really good. If you want to have characters in your game and they're going to behave in a certain way, they're going to have the control rigs that behave very similar to how it always works in games. And if you want to conform to those rules, I think Unreal Engine so far is really, really good. If you just want, let's say you want to make a new first-person shooter with new assets in it, then I would probably go for that because it's super flexible and performant and easy to reuse what's there. But as soon as you want to venture out, I think I'm going to be speaking about that today when it comes to maybe different types of characters and reusing assets between them. I found so far, I'm only a week into Unreal Engine, so these are only my first initial observations. So I think I want to learn both because then I'd be able to help people choosing as well. And I'm going to create something, as you saw on the screenshot that I had for my intro. My little Wild West guide that I released a couple of videos about before. I still have all the animation videos in store. So I thought I could use that character and take them, because it's a multiple set of characters, on a bit of a journey and do something in Unreal Engine and in Unity that highlights a little bit on the differences. So I've been playing around a little bit with that so far. So let's have a look at the chat as well. Music down by 30%. Oh, is it too loud again? Let's check it out. It was too loud last week as well. Alright, I've lowered it again. Minus. And I wish I'm trying to get the monitoring so I hear it the same volume in my headphones. Doesn't work. Don't get the same sound. So let's have a look. Good evening. Welcome everyone. Fashionably late. Well, Arvid has joined in as well. Music. Oh, okay. Music is good. I lowered it. So. All right. Let's bring it out halfway then. There we go. That could work. Okay. Music is fine. Music is fine. Good. Good. I'm going to share my screen for a change. Let's see. And just one more time, since everyone's joined now, 140 people have joined. Hello everyone and welcome to this Thursday, and it's actually officially 2 minutes past 7 now, so the stream is, I had a little early start there. This week I'm going to be touching what I've learned in a week using Unreal Engine 5. It's been really cool so far. I've only been able to allocate my spare time because I'm working very hard and a lot in Lineware at the moment. We've had some nasty infinite loop bugs that I've been trying to do, and they only occur 1 out of 100 matches maybe. And it's on the server that's running on Linux headless, and it's very difficult to catch when it happens and how to debug it. And it's happening on some of the production games. So we've been I was up till 4 o'clock this morning, and I attached process debugging remotely across the SSH tunnels and tried to read the machine code to see where it's actually getting stuck. So it's been a tough week, but a lot of fun, learning a lot, of course. So Unreal Engine 5, I've learned, I spent a bit on the weekend and in the evenings. I've been watching both some free content that I found on YouTube, of course, some tutorial videos and just random clips when I got curious how to do something. So I looked that up, and I've also started to check out a new course that Game Dev TV has got, and it's brand new for Unreal Engine 5. So I was hoping to actually go through that one. That's a paid one though, but I'm going to speak to them and see if I can get you guys a good discount on those courses as well. I've been having some contact with them since we got Grant Abbott. I always say that one. But he's doing some courses there, and I'm actually interested to do some courses for Game Dev TV myself if the time works out. So hopefully I can give you guys a discount there at some point. So I've looked at one of those courses a little bit and learned. So apart from that, it was fun to have you along with me last week. I was surprised how many people actually wanted to spend 2.5 hours looking at me getting totally lost in Unreal Engine, but I hope you found it useful. So Unreal Engine 5 PC requirements, I have got absolutely no idea. I've actually just upgraded my machine, so it's a bit of a beast machine that I've got running now, and it's actually I'm really picky about my fan noises, and I always try to get the Strix version of my graphics card. And it was really difficult to get the graphics card now. There are the component issues and everything like that. So I got one, and it's as soon as Unreal Engine 5 starts, it starts to sound like a turbine. So I'm really annoyed at that, actually. But I don't think you necessarily need a monster PC. It depends on what you do. And I do a lot of low poly stuff, so it's not so important. All right, so if you want to give me a comment or something, or if you have a question for me specifically, do @Imphenzia in the chat, because then it pops out in orange so I can see it. Hopefully I can see it. So I'll probably miss most of the other stuff. And in case my friend says, my son's friend is watching, Max, hello, and Veronica, and Martin as well, of course. So if you're watching, like you did last week, hello, and sorry for missing you in the chat. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna switch to screen sharing here. And let's see. We've got center screen here. I've got oh, okay, I have to turn on my face here. Woohoo! Here we go. There I am. And let's see. I'm gonna launch a new one. So just to give you a little run through here. I've actually got Unity started, and a little heads up there as well, if anyone's interested in the Unity versions. On Unity actually just released version 2021, the LTS version of that one. So 2022 is obviously out already, but the long-term support for 2021 is just out. So we're going to upgrade Line War to that. We just upgraded it recently to the 2020 version of LTS. And I've also had some questions about the netcode that we use for Line War. And the reason why we've been stuck on Unity 2018 for so long is because we use the old UNet. But we actually have run into a bug in there, and it's not going to get fixed, of course. And coincidentally enough, the new transport that Unity has released, they've just released that one in version 1.0, 3 years after they deprecated UNet. But it's very poorly documented, and we're just in the transition period to upgrading Line War to 2020 and then using the new Unity Network Transport package. That is literally less than 2 weeks away. They released that in version 1.0, and it's super poorly documented. Come on, Unity, you used to be super good at documenting your things all the time with perfect examples. Everything was really, really good, and I have no idea what's happened now. You've got no documentation. What's going on? Oh, we've got some questions as well. How to create the high poly character tutorial, please. Football dev. I don't know. I don't make high poly. Sorry. But there are probably spectacular videos for that you can check out. Maybe one day I'll get to that point. You can just subdivide it up to 5 times and get loads of details. And then we've got is it K-Thrill or something? I hope you end up making lots of UEFI content, because I love all your teaching methods. Cool. Yeah, I really want to get good at all 3 engines. Well, I say all 3, there are more of them, but I want to get really good at the latest version of Unity, Unreal Engine, and Godot. So those are the ones I'm planning. So I'm going to make another experienced Unity noob Unreal Engine 5 person tries out Godot for the very first time. I'm going to make that maybe next week. I'll try that as well, but I'm still going to definitely. So have you checked out Riptide by Tom Weiland? Really great networking solution. I haven't actually, but it was mentioned. So we don't really need all the synchronization that a lot of the like mirror libraries and things like that. They focus a lot on synchronizing game objects and stuff. We don't need any of that. We just need a really, really reliable transport method to have our serialization getting transported over, and then any reconnect attempts that needs to be super robust. Yeah, so Godot. Yeah, I'm going to try that next week maybe. That should be a fun video. Okay, let's go back into Unreal, and well, this is Unity. So let's get back into Unreal Engine. And I did some testing here, and what I'm going to do now, last week we did the brand new like empty project. I'm going to start a new one now actually, and because I was looking around a little bit at the 3 templates. This is what I like, what I think Unreal Engine is doing really well. They create these templates, and I haven't even checked these yet. I've only tested out the third person and the top down. The top down was more of a click and point where you go. So I think for a top down, like a animated game with characters, I probably would have started maybe with a third person template, and then just changed the camera a little bit on that one, because I liked the character controller that was included in this one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to load this one up now, and let's just create this one and call it third. Oh, okay, here's a quirky one. You can't have a project name starting with a letter. That's a new, or a character. a digit. So I have to do third person try 3 or something. Sure, I'm just creating over and over again so I can get used to the workflow and stuff. SYI Sin, do you have any tips for motivation? Yeah, of course I do. Just go with what you're interested with right now, and just try to work on creating little silly projects. That if you're struggling with motivation of learning, that's what I'd recommend to do. Just try to find some YouTube tutorials and replicate what they're doing in that. If you're trying to get motivation for a bigger game, that's a whole different ballpark. So maybe if you find yourself getting very stuck and you're not getting very far into your game, consider how big your game scope is. Maybe you've set the goals too high, so it becomes very difficult. And it totally depends. Have you released games in the past? Is this like, are you working on your second, third, fifth game? I'm guessing a lot of the people that ask me that question is they're creating their first game. And the key thing that I think is, it's cool to have high ambitions, but I think a lot of the times the scope grows and it becomes a huge project that is unmanageable. So consider your original scope, see can you scope it down a little bit, and make sure that you get into a playable state or something like that. And other than that, I tend to, unless you have the time pressure, I also let the creativity and my interest guide me a lot on what I'm doing. I think that's a key thing as well. So if you have a lot of different interests, whether it's animating, doing 3D modeling, programming, learning game engines, web development, animations or something, music in my case as well, or sound effects, I try to just use that to my advantage. So when that inspiration comes, that wave, I'll just do that, unless I have some like proper pressure, of course, to do something that I have to do. So that's why I tend to create different types of tutorials in different phases, and I'll focus on game development or modeling or animation. So let that guide you if you can. So cool. All right, remember, at Imphenzia if you want to ask me more questions. So I loaded up this template that we got. I should move my face a little bit because I think I'm blocking. Where should we put me? Oh, that was the wrong thing to move. Oh, Control Z works now, which is good. Put myself here. Should I put myself here? No, put myself here. Looks like I'm looking away. All right. So there we go. Okay, so I've got the third person template, and if I press play here, just it's pretty cool. The template comes, of course, with just this. You can move your camera around, and I was really impressed by the quality of the template. So the animations are spot on, I think. I even like the fact that it's got this like where it does IK stuff for the legs. So we've got a foot there on the slope, which is really nicely done. And of course, this is definitely doable in Unity, of course, no problem. But it is time consuming and tricky, and I found that as well, that it is quite difficult to achieve this inside of Unreal Engine 2 to get that type of thing. So I've looked at a little bit at YouTube stuff about that and learned how that works. We're going to be speaking a little bit about that. And of course, transitioning into different animation states, and overall, a lot of the workflow, like the core ideas behind everything, I find is very similar to the way Unity works, where you have a game or you have animation states that you can transition to between. And I think, again, it's very different when you get into Unreal Engine to see how it actually works. But the core concept, of course, is like you can blend between. Here it's like a blend tree, it would have been called in Unity, but when you walk, it transitions like between a small walk into a run animation. So all of this is very similar, but very differently done. So just to recap what I've learned a lot about this week, then how should I even start to describe this? I've also done some Blender stuff that we're going to go into, but let's see. So if I go into blueprints here, quick recap is that we've got blueprints very similar to the way prefabs are working in Unity. And okay, it seems when I double click into stuff, this one gets straight into, I've learned a lot about how to just navigate. So I've been in and out, finding out, okay, so if I double click, I can get into them. I get this details panel over here, which is very similar to the inspector in Unity. One observation that I found a lot when I've been looking at Unreal Engine, I think, is that a lot of this stuff is accessible. They've thought like for an animation or for a character, let's say most of the games want to have an animated humanoid character. So it feels like a lot of the stuff that they've done is that they've built that in, so it's all ready to go, and a lot of like these little tick boxes. And it's taken me quite a long time to figure out like what can you find in here. I think it's just a matter of getting used to like what there is. And then I'm starting to get an understanding, of course, of the whole structure between actors, pawns, and characters. So some of the tutorials that I looked on the learning course was explaining the hierarchy of how let's see, these are not necessarily in that order, but that the pawn is an actor and the character is a pawn, and how that works. So I've been learning a little bit about that. So again, a lot of the stuff is hidden in these panels, where I'd find that it's much more context-based inside of and higher level in Unity in comparison. And not even to mention about when I started to look into these things as well, where you have like for these, if I go into this character, I started to look a lot into these animation blueprints as well, and how those worked. And here's the locomotion. Again, in Unity, when you create a state machine, it's very similar to how you can double click yourself in. You have an entry point, you go into like this idle animation, and it can sequence the animation out, and you can step back. So this is again very similar to how I would have done it in Unity. And I find that, and here are the transitions, so from idle to walk run. And if I double click on these, I found out that it's a lot of mapping on these predefined variables that you find down here somewhere. So should move and things like that, where you can set and stuff. So I've learned a little bit about this, how you can do it. I don't necessarily like that you have to go into, like that you get into totally new trees all the time. In Unity, when you select one of these, it's a little bit more customizable without having to go all the way into like a whole new tree, but I guess it's all down to like having the flexibility to do that as well. And then with the walk run, I found that here it's calculating the ground speed, a variable that's done to capture that one, and it blends between. So if I double click on this one, I found out that, okay, you can hold the control key, a little quirky things like this as well, where you can like hold the key to do things. So here I can preview like if it's going very slow and if it's going very fast, how it blends those. And I was looking a lot about some of the tabs, like this asset details here was hidden, for example. So I was like in here for a long time looking, going, what, you know, how do I even pick the animations? I think that could be a little bit more clear maybe. But it was like, how does it, like what animation is this? Which one is this and which one's that? Because I was looking a lot here. Okay, so there's the preview mesh and stuff, and then I found out that there is like a whole new tab that I've probably even missed. So window, I think it was it asset details. So here were the animations where you can blend between them. And now, for example, I don't even know why am I only seeing one animation here. Advanced or something. So I've spent a tremendous amount of time just looking through these different panels and stuff. Oh, here we go. Here are the different animations. So blend samples. Here we've got the 3 animations. So it's going from here, if the speed is something here, 500 centimeters. That's a bit different to get used to, that it's instead of meters, it's so this is 5 meters per second, I'm guessing. Then it should go and run forward. If it's 2.3 meters or 230 centimeters, then it should go to walk forward and then walk in place here. So a lot of the stuff, it's just getting familiar. I don't think there's any shortcut to get I think just staring at a tutorial or a video about it is not going to work. You have to get in here and then just start like changing and looking at different things. What happens if I change that animation into a different one? So again, if I go here, all this quirky stuff that I found is that, we can do this as an example now. Actually, I'm going to import a character now, my custom one, because here's where it started to get a little bit crazy. When I pressed play, I thought, okay, great, I've got this character, and I want to change it into my character now. So I want to have a low poly character that's just going to run in this person's place. So if I press escape there, let's switch over to Blender. Ta-da! Do you remember this guy? I don't know if you did. It was probably a year ago now, or half a year. Time goes so fast. I created this low poly character. And the funny thing about this guy is that if I hide the armature, I'm in Blender now, by the way, if you didn't see. We're going to go back into Unreal Engine and I'll import this guy a little bit there. But what I did like about when I created this character is that a lot of these are separate. So if I hide a lot of this stuff... Okay, I shouldn't really hide the cowboy itself there. The boots are gone. There we go. Let's just hide all of these, like the gloves and stuff. So here's my base character. So children, look away now. He's got a gun though and a mustache. This looks super weird. No eyes. Let's take away the mustache. That's better. I've got a long beard today for some reason. I haven't shaved. All right, revolver. Let's take that one away as well. So here's the base character, and it's got the armature here. And I've got a whole bunch of animations. If I select this one and click, and I pick, let's just go for something. Should we go get up, back or something? Here we go. So there's an animation where he just gets up, a prone, get up. So I've created all of these different keyframed animations here. We've got draw from holster, or that's just a draw pose there. We've got a run injured. How does that look? Okay, it's not looping there, so let's slide this one back. I don't even know how many keyframes this one's. Run injured. Here somewhere. Alright, so I've got all of these animations, and if I click on the X here, we can see that I've got a whole bunch of them here on the NLA track editor as well. So we're going to import this into Unity. Here's eating... What is that? Eating and spitting. Alright, so we've got a whole bunch of animations here. So the first thing I was going to do is when I exported stuff, so I clicked, okay, how do I export stuff into Unreal Engine? I was thinking, because I've done that a million times, near enough, for Unity. So I did my usual stuff. I go to File, Export, and FBX. And then I've actually exported a few times here before, so I can clear these for now. Let's just delete them. And hopefully, there we go. Why are they still there? Documents. Cowboys. Blender. Cowboys. Exports. Okay, there was some in here as well, apparently. So I'm going to go into the export folder. There we go. So when I export, there's a lot of stuff to learn here for Unreal Engine. And the first thing I ran into before I export is the direction. So every coordinate system, of course, is super weird and different. So Blender is using forward is positive Y, and Z is up, and X is left and right. Unity is working on Z being forward, and Y is up, and X is left and right. And I found out last week that Unreal Engine uses X is forward, and I think Y is up, and Z is left and right. So it's all different. And the way I learned to model the characters to work in the latest version of Unity is actually to have them phasing along this axis here. So I've started maybe a year and a half ago to model them facing in that direction so they would work in the Unity import. Unreal Engine doesn't want them in that direction, and even though you can do some fixes, I spent some time in the chat, actually in the Discord. Woo! Thanks. Mia, amongst others, were there. Nice to speak. And then we chat a little bit about this. So in Unreal Engine, we want to actually have them facing away from the negative y-axis here for the imports to work correctly. So when I exported something, I selected this, and I shift selected this character, went to File, Export, FBX. We'll go into the export folder and Cowboy. And I just want to export the selected objects here. And then I decided to put X forward here and Y up. And I've also found out apparently that we should change this to, let's see. I just saw a tutorial before I started this video actually, that it said that it should be in, let's see, before I say anything, FBX all. It doesn't look quite like it did there. So I'm actually going to just leave it as it is now, but there's something really picky that you should not change the units to centimeters anyway, which is important. You should keep it in meters and then do smaller there, but I'll have to look at that before so I don't say something wrong. So I did this, and then for armature, let's see, I only want to do the deform bones and the leaf bones there. And animations, let's bring those in, I guess, as well. I think it's only going to bring one. So I clicked export there and then went to my folder. It takes a little bit of time for that to export. It's with the animations, I think. What happened? Oh, there we go. Cowboys with an S. And then I just drag this into, let's create a new one here. Right click, new folder, cowboy. So I found out that importing like this seems to work pretty good. Just drag and drop. So you're faced with a lot of stuff straight away, and the only ones that I've really had to care about here is that I had to tick this one, force front x-axis. I think that was the only one, and then you can also control a few things when you import with the materials, but it did actually seem to import quite nicely. So let's just import all on that one. And here, I got this one. Never got this in Unity, but no smoothing groups found for the FBX. I think we did that this last week, and there was actually a fix for that one. So I only found out that you have to delete all of these, force delete, and then when I export again here, export, same settings, but we have to go here, geometry and smoothing base. So don't know why, but that's the way it is. And then we have to wait for this to re-export. So here we go, back here, exports, and then we drag this one in, and now that warning should be gone, hopefully. Import all. Okay, so we're in here now, and I was hoping that it was just a matter of, okay, how do I just change that character now to have this character instead? But first things first, let's just bring this guy into there. So this is what I did. I just dragged them in. So this works really nice. I just dragged literally this thing in there. Press play, and the character, of course, he's not moving yet because we haven't done anything. But I was really happy to see that just the import itself worked really well. So we don't have any cavity shade or anything like that, but overall, I think it looks pretty good. And now I'm noticing for some reason that the character is facing the wrong way. Did I miss to select? Let's do this one more time. Drag it in. I did have face for, so force front x-axis is on. Import all. And I'm quite picky about this one. I know you can just like, oh, I'll create another game object or another object in the hierarchy that's higher up, and then just have that one facing forward. But you always run into problems later on when you do work around it like that. So I actually really tend to like to have them facing in the right direction. But oh, okay, let's see. I'm really confused now why that one's facing in that direction. Let's have a look in here again. Blender. Character. Okay, so here's why then. I've accidentally rotated him. See that the rotation here is in Blender of my armature is 180 degrees. And this character is 0 degrees. And if I do Alt R here, it's as I mentioned, I've modeled them in this way in Unity. No, for Unity. So it's important that if it's facing this direction, you have to press Control A and apply the rotation. See how that went down to 0 now. So this, and then this one as well. This one turned into -180, which is another pain because the parent here got rotated. So I have to do Control A on this one too and apply the rotation. So it's very important that the mesh itself and this one, these have 0 rotation there on the Z-axis. Luckily enough, I found that it doesn't break the animations, which is I was really happy about, because that would have been a disaster. So the animation seems to work still, and let's try to export this again. I'm actually gonna take that little star away, mark all of those two, export FBX. Settings should all be the same. Double click and see. Got some questions here. Cool guy, you can choose a mesh rotation on import. Like set it to 180 on Z, but yeah, X is forwards. That's correct. I did find that when I imported it, that I could make it face in the right direction when I created a blueprint and things. But I really want to, maybe I'm missing that still, but I really wanted it to be that that all the rotations are 0 and stuff, and for some reason so far, but it's always been, I don't know why it's always been such a haunting thing for any game development stuff to get the rotations correct. Let's try it again. So front x-axis. We should see a lot more animations. Oh no, okay, I haven't imported them yet. So let's go there. All right, so we still have the same issue. Why is that? Let's try again. Delete. And here, got there. Everything's correct. I wonder if there's one of the animations that's doing it. Export. Let's delete this one just in case. Delete. Selected objects. X forward. I wonder if I've messed something up there. Geometry. Face. Armature. I think that should be alright. Only the form. Bake animations. We don't want to have all actions with it. Just the NLA strips. Export. Oh, okay. I saw that. I still had a file there. So did I trick myself? I've been importing the wrong guy. I think. Is it this one that I've been importing? Let's get rid of these so I don't trick myself. Try it again. Export FBX. Okay. Delete again. Export. All right, why up on export? Sorry, did I have that? I'll double check. Is that okay? Let's try it one more time. Horse X. Okay, let's check if you're right there. You're probably right, and I'm probably wrong. So. Okay. I'm just gonna try something. Maybe I said this whole thing wrong. Just want to try this. Rotation, apply, rotation, Control A, Control A. There we go. I'm just gonna check if I was median. Ah, right, okay. I was confused. Okay, so sorry about that. I led you on a wild goose chase, I think, as well, because I had the orientation axis was actually, if I press period or comma here, it was on local. So I think I should have had that on global. Let's see, try it again. So I had to redo all of that, what I just said. Export FBX. Let's try it one more time. And I want to delete this one to make sure it's the right one. Export. Let's try it one more time. All right. He isn't seeing that the world axis, he's still pointing forward in Y. There. So I think that's correct now. So it's facing forward in the Z direction and it's facing forward in the X direction, so that's good. All right, a long time to wasted for that. Sorry about that, but it's facing in the right direction. And also to get the animations, so I figured out, okay, I got the character in. So to get the animations in, let's do one more time. Export FBX. So, and this time, bake animation is there. NLA strips is there. So I wonder why I did not. Is it off on import actually? Animation, import animations. There. Import all. Now we should have all the still facing sideways in the content folder. I thought. All right. Let's get that one straight then. So should he be facing forward in the content folder? Should he be facing me now in the content folder here, in the content browser? And is that in that case? Because I did read what you saw, what you said. But I did force X on import, and when I did the export here, Z off. There we go. Try that on then. And we'll get the... There. Try that. Double click on the mesh and check his orientation in the window. Okay, I'll check it. I have to delete all of this again. One thing that I often do in Unity is that I just save the file straight into the import folder and it just auto updates. I don't know, I haven't actually tried that on Unreal Engine yet. So we got force X forward, everything here. I don't think I should need to change anything there. We've got animations, import all. Here he's still facing in that direction, still correct when I import him. If I double click on him, I guess he should be facing me now, right? So let's have a look. I thought you could right click on assets and re-import. That's possible. No, I haven't looked in BrainShack. I haven't looked into the Blender plugins for Unreal yet. I did Google and saw that there are people have created some stuff, which I like to try to work as much as possible, like from the original like Blender version, to have to avoid as many plugins as possible. But of course, if there's sometimes the problems are definitely justified to use that. So what? Let's see. They use an offset view for thumbnails. Okay. It is facing in that direction, so it is facing in the X direction. I did notice that the sample content, if I looked on one of these things, okay, let's go for this one. Meshes maybe, skeletal mesh. This one is facing forward, but what was curious here is that it's not actually facing in their own forward direction then on this character, because X is left and right here. And if it's true that X should be forward, then I don't really know yet why they haven't actually followed that. So that'll be interesting to look into. In Unreal Engine 4, Y is front. Well, I thought X was front. Did they change that? Okay, they rotate them in a blueprint 90 degrees. For some default objects. Okay, very strange. I find stuff like that super weird, and it just gets accepted because I guess it's like, and you just get used to it in the end. I'm not used to it yet by any means. So okay, but I don't think necessarily it'll be a problem. Okay, so skeletal mesh Y is front. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Skeletal mesh Y is front, and everything else is X is front. Okay, that's one to put to the books then, where it could be a little bit confusing. Let's drag our cowboy guy in again. Another thing, let's see if I do. Thought this was quite neat that you get it really nicely done. This is something I really liked with Unreal Engine. When I did import all the animations and stuff, I really liked that. Let's see if we could just grab one of these, knock down, and when I press play, I think it just plays it. So I liked the fact that you could. That's how simple it is to get animated stuff in. And then I started to learn a little bit more about the. Let's get rid of a few of these. How it worked, and so here's I struggle a little bit to figure out how to do with the clothes now, because we've got this cowboy. If I drag him in, actually create a blueprint from this guy. So we've got a skeletal mesh here and the animation sequences here. So I'm going to right click and just create okay, apparently not. I'm going to have to right click here. New blueprint class should we do? There. And I'm just going to do a character for now. Cowboy. Double click. And here I'm going to drag in. So this mesh I've learned a little bit about it. Skeletal Mesh. Should be able to bring the cowboy in. This one I thought it was a bit strange why because I always model my characters there, and I was expecting that on the floor height here that this capsule would be in the right place. So I found it strange because you've got the capsule half height here, which is pretty correct. The radius and everything looks good. But the only way I figured out how to fix this one was to translate it upwards. So, or actually, I had to translate my character down. Let's grab this guy again, Skeletal Mesh. So snap him off. I've learned a little bit about that apparently. So I moved this one down there. I found it a little bit strange that the capsule doesn't operate with the center, and then I guess I'll have to move this whole thing up or something. Found it strange that this one doesn't have any positions, but that seemed to work. So with the clothes, I thought was strange. I'm going to do a little demo in how I do that in Unity, I guess, as well. And by the way, I'm not trying to teach this at all. I'm just literally trying to say what I'm trying to figure out, because this is a very big learning journey for me. So absolutely not a tutorial. This is just you can tag along a little bit on the way maybe and see different things. So if I drag this, I've also learned that I should really name stuff like this, BP, and here SK for Skeletal Mesh, or SK, I think SKM seems to be the common one for that. They seem to work a lot, even though you got the colors and stuff. So I'm gonna get rid of this one now, bring the cowboy in there. Here's the thing now, when the thing is in the middle, it gets brought down to there, and then it snaps up because it does the collision. I don't think Unity would have done any automatic collision detection like that, but I'm not entirely sure yet why the capsule isn't there in the right place. So let's see, Tanner Eminent, do you plan to create a new game for platforms, Imphenzia? As I understand, you spend much time to figure out Unreal. I'm not sure yet. I want to learn it so I can do a simple top-down, maybe like run around and shoot type of thing. So I'll want to do it in Unreal Engine and in Unity so I can see how they differ and hopefully be able to teach a little bit better on that at some point. All right, Mia, nice. On the phone. Hope you don't fall off. Let's see. Of course, we don't have anything yet. That's just a blueprint version of it now. So when it comes to the clothes, then what I tried to figure out so far is if I go in, I can drag this one and redock it. So I've had to learn how to get used to all this navigation as well. One thing we did chat about last week as well is that it feels a little bit strange for me not to have a scene view and a game camera view, because that's something I really got used to in Unity to be able to toggle. But someone taught me last week was really good is like when we press play and you press F8, I really like that you could just walk around like with the WASD keys and the mouse, and right mouse button. So I really like that part of it. Another thing that I really like is how fast it goes in and out of play mode, like pow. In Unity, it's like, all right, let's go and grab a cup of coffee and then wait for all the assemblies to compile. Let's have another sip of the coffee and let's watch some Netflix in the meanwhile, and then maybe it's started. And here it's like instant, so super good. So I could get used to this fact that you can like press F8 and do that, super good. With this blueprint, another thing I learned then was the concept of animation blueprints, if I remember correctly. So right click, animation, and I created an animation blueprint. And here's another quirky thing I thought is I have to pick a skeleton mesh now to create my animation blueprint from, which is fair enough, I guess. And for most games, that would be actually perfectly fine. But what I did realize as well is that this is your final decision. You cannot change this anymore. So I clicked on create and then let's go animation. Okay, why did it press enter? Animation blueprint. I think that's how we prefix those, cowboy. So we've got the blueprint and the animation blueprint, and when I double click on this one, I get the output pose. And here I also found that I think it was quite easy to just like drag this one, redock it, drag this one, redock it, and then right click. I really like the fact that a lot of this stuff is with the blueprint driven is like just right click it, and if I remember it correctly, I could actually do Let's see. Here we go. That I could just drag, like, search for stuff context, but it sort of knows that it's all already imported. So if I had get up, prone, for example, there, and then I drag this animation to there, I think that should work straight out of the box. And then compile, I've had to get used to a lot to press compile all the time up here. And then when I press play now, I found out that, okay, and the reason why I understand that now finally as well, because I did that on the blueprint, but this guy that I've imported here is not the blueprint, I think. So let's see. Oh, no, sorry, my bad. So now I have to see, I'm still learning here. So for this one now, double click on it. Here, I have to use animation blueprint, and the drop down here, ABP, animation blueprint cowboy. I think that should work now. Compile, and now when I press play, hopefully that loops. So very much just getting used to how this works. I also like the fact that you can click on stuff and see it like previewed live. And I'll also touch a little bit about the visual scripting in Unity, how I think they compare to this one. So let's see, what should we do now? That's just the animation blueprint. The whole other concept, we still have to talk a little bit about the clothes then finally. So if I double click on the blueprint, BP cowboy, how do I get back now to the... Let's see, I'm missing a lot of tabs here. Open the full blueprint editor. Okay, that's what I was looking for. And then we've got something called construction nodes here. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to create the concept of be able to put clothes on and off. So in order to export all of those in Unity, actually, let's do this so I can show in Unity a little bit how I do it there. I should toggle a little bit. So if I enable a lot of these different objects here, so here comes, and I'm much more used to working in Unity, of course, but here's how I would have done it for Unity. I would have selected this, shift selected this one, and gone File, Export, FBX, and then Cowboy Unity, let's call that one. And for this one, for Unity, I do FBX Unix scale, and I'll do, this is probably going to face in the wrong direction now because I have to, but that, for the point, it doesn't really matter, actually. Let's just do it like that. I think that should be it. So then we jump into Unity for a section here. And we're in Unity, create a folder here, meshes. I'm going to try to import this one here. Cowboy Unity, drag it into there. I'm still sharing my screen, yeah. I think I'm blocking it. I'll bring myself down here again. Okay, I didn't get my material, so that thumbs up for that it worked a little bit better on with Unreal Engine for that. It just brought it with it. But anyway, in Unity, what I like, I'm just gonna, okay, let's have a look. Should we grab it anyway? We have to have the colors at least. Imphenzia palette. Grab this one in here. It's gonna be the mesh folder now, but never mind. There we go. So we've got the colors. Here's what I'm used to in Unity. In order to get the different clothes, and they've changed this stupid thing. I don't know why they've enabled this, but let's get rid of that one. And then unpack prefab completely here. So we're back in Unity now. And here I could just block mark. So here it just throws something called, here's the cowboy. So in Unity it's called a skin mesh renderer. And you have the mesh. And then if I hide this one, that's the actual cowboy guy. Everything else here just gets imported as separate game objects. So if I hide all of this, and including the cowboy should be shown, then I have this character here. So in Unity, it's just a matter of like all the objects are already in, and you can just toggle them on and off. So you could have a character, a prefab, where you just switch on the different things. You want boots and stuff like that, or you want a pink scarf on something. If we also put an animation on it, let's put, I think it imported those here as well. We've got all the animations are visible in here. So let's just put an animated component on it or something. Should we put it on here maybe? Animator. Should we do, we'll do the old one, the primitive one. Here's what I liked in Unreal Engine is that you got the preview. Here you have to select them. I don't think you can build the previews, but this is nice in Unity where you can just click and see what animations are. But I like the fact that they were all visible in the thumbnail in Unreal Engine. So if we go back to the cowboy, let's see if I can just drag that knock down, whatever that is, knock down front, Control S. Okay, it's not playing. I think I might have to put it on the armature actually instead. So here, animation, and knock down again, let's try that on. Okay, still not. Okay, I'll have to do it the longer way. So here's another difference. I think what I really liked in Unreal Engine is that just sort of worked out of the box then. So here I probably have to do where I do, I'll put a proper animator on here. And I have to create a new animation controller. Create animator controller, cowboy and controller. Sorry if the text is super small, it's really small for me. Oh, control, you can scale it. Nice. Control mouse wheel. So let's grab that on, put it on there. Double click. So in Unity, again, with the this is very similar to the way the blueprints work. So let's just drag that animation in. We could have done the idle, but let's just get something more dramatic here. We had that punch, no, fall over or something. Get up prone, that's the one we've been using. So I just dragged this one in here. So this is like similar to the blueprint editor. And what I said about before with the transitions, this is what I liked in Unity, where you can just, okay, that one's already, but if we drag another one in, right click, make transition to here. It's quite easy to see and preview stuff in Unity, I think, the way they transition between each other and stuff. But never mind. So that's the default one now, the entry. It's just I'm so used to working in Unity. So I think when you get used to the workflow in Unreal Engine, I have no doubts that it's going to be super good and even faster to create characters for games that way. I would have thought, because I will be speaking a little bit more about that in a second. Am I still streaming? I hope so. Okay, so there's the animation playing. So what I liked in Unity now is that all of these things just like work. And if I go back into the scene view, and okay, it's not looping. Let's make it loop. Can I do that? Can I transition to myself? Yeah. So let's just here, like enable different things. Maybe some pants and stuff. Top. So and so to get a little bit what I've figured out so far, I found out that you use something called sockets in Unreal Engine. So, and that works really good for some things. Like if we have hats here, for example, the brown hat. So the hat is a static mesh really that doesn't morph, or it doesn't need to get modified by any bones. So it works really good. I think the socket stuff for weapons, hats, even this like mouth mask thing would have worked. What it doesn't work for is so the top here, for example, if that would have been used with a socket, then it wouldn't get distorted by the skeletal mesh in Unreal Engine. So that was one of the things that I ran into. So how do I do it? And so far what I've found is if I go back into Unreal Engine, okay, that's Blender. A lot of applications here. So here I've got the skeletal mesh. If maybe I can duplicate this one, duplicate it, and I'll call this one pants, for example. And then here, let's see if I even remember now, because I've only done it once. So for the pants here, I'll do skeletal mesh, and I haven't actually imported any clothing yet. So here's where the workflow really got disrupted for me, because like you saw when I imported into Unity, I just dragged and dropped that whole thing, and all of the stuff just came along with the same one. So in here in Unity, all of these just sort of tagged along on the journey. And if I exported everything for Unreal Engine in the same way, let's import this one into Unreal Engine. So if I find the right place, we're here, documents, Blender, Cowboys, and let's import the Unity version here with all the different objects, and let's bring this one into here, and then I have to go back to there. I'll create a new folder just as a test here, new folder, test, and then let's import this one. So here I would have liked to have, when you import a static mesh, it's something called, you can leave it to not combine all the meshes, but for a skeletal mesh import, that doesn't seem to be possible. So when I import all here now into Unreal Engine, then, okay, I got something funny here, because I think I exported something that's really small or something, so the previews got a little bit messed up. But the key thing is that if I go in here to the character, I think I've got a little tiny object somewhere. Not sure why it's there. Okay. Or is it just turned? Oh, okay. Maybe it was because was it because I changed to FBX unit scales? Probably. Let's have to export this again. Control tab, mark everything, export FBX, and let's do that one again. And then I guess I have to do X forward. No. Oh, I get confused with those. Export FBX. It doesn't really matter with the rotations now anyway, I think. But we want it to be X forward. All. See if that works better. This one I also found a little bit odd in, like there's a lot of jumping between the different tabs up here, and then like having to multi-select and delete, it's a bit slow. I don't know why it needs a lot of time to process to delete these. I'm going to check some questions in a second as well in this chat here. So let's get rid of those. So this part, it plays the game really fast, but deleting stuff seems to be fast. This is a fast drive as well, super fast SSD. Let's try this one. So skeletal mesh, import all. Okay, I've done something with the unit size then. Okay. The problem anyway, I can still speak about the problem, and that was that everything got sent into like one object. There's absolutely no way to separate those meshes. They get baked into the same mesh as Unreal, as the original skeletal mesh, unfortunately. So there's no way to access those clothes, so which is a bit of a shame. So in order to try to find a way forward for that one, go back here. Let's get rid of all of this again. So the only way I found to do it was to export everything as separate objects then. Since I need the skin weights on them, like a skeletal mesh for a lot of the objects, not all of them, so the hats and stuff I could have done differently. Let's get rid of those again. And wait. So here's the coffee time in Unreal Engine. You just have coffees at different places. In Unity, it's when you press play. In Unreal Engine, it's when you delete something. Let's get rid of this one. Delete. All right. So back in Blender, then what I ended up having to do was export stuff, which was super tedious. So if I do H to, or Control Tab, let me do Alt H. Ooh, here's everything. Select all, hide. So then what I wanted to do is like, I wanted to export separate clothes then. So this one is got mesh deformation on it. So I really need to be a skinned mesh render for this one, or the equivalent, a skeletal mesh in Unreal Engine. And one way to do it would be to export all of these individually, but I couldn't do that. It took too long. So I created a helper script in this one actually. So it's a Python, and I actually did it as a plugin because I can release this to my Patreon site at some point. It's still a bit of work in progress, but what I did is here, if I try to show it, I created the ability to export for that format. So let's say I wanted to export all the clothes now. Let's unhide all of these. So to there, but I don't want to actually everything except the cowboy I want to do. So what I made it so you can select all of these, and then I'll take away the cowboy here. There. And then I created this. It's probably a little bit difficult to see, but it says include parent armature, because when you export them for it to be a skeletal mesh with deformation for the clothes, I needed to include the parent armature in the export. And I don't really want to include the animations, so I did a tick box so you can have animations or not. And then if I do here, we'll call this one clothes. Or actually, it's going to pick its own name, so it's just for the folder there. And then I hit, I think if this is going to work now, hit export, and it just runs through all of them, and it finds all the objects that I had selected. This script will go through them, pick the object, and then detect that it's got an armature here, up here. And then it includes that one and selects them, and it exports them as individual FBX files, hopefully, if it turned out right. So here are all the clothes now as separate FBX files. So I can shift select these. We don't want the cowboys with it. And all of these FBX files now should hopefully, actually we'll create a new called here, new folder, call it clothes. It's not just clothes, but mostly it's clothes. Drag it in. So skeletal mesh we need on most of them, not all of them. So hats and stuff I would probably have to do separate. And I don't want to have animations this time. I'm going to check the history in just a second there. Import all. Okay, the bone size is too small. Right, don't know what that's. Boots black. Never mind. So here I got my clothes in. So they're all ready to go there, I think. We'll go back into the cowboy. And that's the animation, so I want to go back into the cowboy blueprint. I feel like Bambi here, in a deer in headlights. So in the construction script here, let's see, I created one called pants here before. Now, theoretically, I should be able to change the skeletal mesh here. If I search, this is something I like that you can search. So pants. And if I press the viewport here now, okay, it's not animating. So here I found out the long way as well that in the construction script, I had to do something here called pose something. That's all I remember. Set pose, no. It was something here. You guys probably know it in the chat. There. Set master pose component. Is it this one? So set master pose component. Skinned mesh. I think it was this one that I... mesh. That's the character. Let's try this one. So pants. And then here I'm going to drag them. Let's rename this one. So here is very much learning as you go. I'll drag this one in mesh. Drag this one here. So that's the master one. And then it should target the animations to here. And then this is a construction script. And I learned that this only runs, it's like equivalent in Unity when you have a start method or something, or an awake method, one of those two. So in the construction now, if I've done it correct, I press compile. And let's go back into here. If I press play, yeah, he's wearing the pants now. So that was so far that's how I managed to sort of figure out that if I add the pants here, so theoretically I could change the pants here now to blue pants instead, and compile and press play, and he'll have blue pants there now, which is good. So I figured, okay, so how do we actually change the different types of things? So let's say we got 3 different type of pants. So this one is I wanted to change it on the fly here, and then I started to play around a little bit with variables. So here on variables I added, and let's call it pants blue, and I changed this one to a skeletal mesh. Skeletal mesh, and then let's see there, and now I could change. Let's see if I can. Advanced, is that advanced? No. So how do I actually set the value? Oh yeah, so I, in here I drag it in here, set pants blue. I'm probably doing this in a stupid way, and I can select the mesh here now and do blue pants blue there. So now I've got blue pants here. I'm guessing you can set this somewhere else. I think yesterday when I tried it, or whenever that I could actually change it in here. But I don't seem to be able to do that now. So pants. I thought I could set variable type. Alright, never mind. Let's keep it like that anyway, because this is one way to do it. Here, I duplicated this one, and then I did pants black, skeletal, set pants black, and then change this one. So after it's set that variable, pants black, and then I did it one more time. I did plus pants gray, set pants gray, drag it to there, pants gray. So now these are set, and now I could, let's see now. So here I should be able to drag this one in pants. Let's see, set skeletal mesh. Is it this one? Set skeletal mesh for pants. So we got pants here, and if I plug this one in there, then I could pick any of these pants now, I think. So gray we haven't tried, so gray, let's put the gray pants on there, and then I have to set this one. So it changed, it's just like a running sequence. In programming you just like create this in the awake script, you'd set these variables instead, but now it's all visual instead. So let's see if that works. It should really have gray pants on now. Okay, there, yeah, so it got the gray pants. They look a little bit black, but they're the gray ones. And then I should be able to change them to blue pants now, I guess. So if I were to change here, alt click I've learned is taking away those. Compile, press play, and okay, so he doesn't have the blue pants on. It's probably because I broke this chain, so it needs to, the order of execution goes like this in the startup, tung, 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 and then sets. So remember, I'm in a construction script now. Compile, and now he's got the blue pants. So then I thought, okay, what if I want to change these now on the fly? Not his fly. So if I go into the event graph now, I guess I can copy from here, right? So skeletal mesh, copy that into the event graph. So this one I can have running all the time. So event tick runs every frame. So I guess theoretically I could run this every, or let's create something called like a timer or something. Timer event, set timer by event. So begin play, I'm gonna create a timer. Let's see, custom event, I think that was something called. And then it's gonna loop, and let's change pants every 1 second or something. So then I bring it there, and then here, now I need to figure out, now I need to plug in different pants here every time this triggers. So I think there was something called a sequence. Does that work? No, that doesn't work. I just need to have it. Maybe I can grab random pants or something. Let's grab the pants in here anyway. So we got the get pants blue, get pants black, get pants gray. And then now I want to have it rotate here, depending on here. So how do I pick random pants? Let's see. I thought there was something called. So here's where I found, sometimes I Google when I need to do something, and then a little bit more I learned that I can search for something along the lines that I want to do. So like it could be like an array thing. I tend to search, and context sensitive here is enabled, so I can random array item. Maybe I can create an array here. So object array, no, that's audio stuff. So this is what's most time consuming for me, and then I Google a little bit and see, okay, how do I do it instead? But literally what I want to do, I want to plug in a different, so maybe I could do like an if statement or something. There's something called random here, random integer. Random array item. So now I need to create an array. Array. Make array, maybe? Can I do this? Nope. All right. I'll figure out some way. I'm probably wasting everyone's time here. Let's see. Anyone got an idea of which component could randomly select one of these pants and plug it into the skeletal mesh here? So this one will trigger, I think, every minute. Sorry, every second. This will trigger from the begin play there. Drag from the blue and make an array. Okay. Array. Add. Is it add array? Make array. Okay. And can I, how do I add more than make, add? Can I do add? Add. Does this work? And add. No, I'm not allowed to do that. Let's see. Pin to add element. Let's see. That's true. Add operator. I'm guessing it's this one though. Add, because that one worked. Make array. Add. Can I add multiples? No. Make array. Click add pin on make array. Click the add pin. Ah, right. Sorry. Thank you. There we go. Thank you. See, I'm stupid. Random. So, okay, so random array element item here. I'm guessing this should work. So now it should theoretically change pants. Okay, so I've got an error. Just wanted to see error. Target must have, okay, self. I thought that was self was a target. Okay, okay, so I'll drag pants in here. Couldn't change it on self. Wait. So yeah, now it's changing the pants there every second then. So that's, I also found out on top of that, that instead of doing it, because it was, then I found when I tried this or something similar the other day, that it's very tedious to have to, for every clothing, I don't really necessarily want to like create one of these all the time, because that sort of defeats the project, remember, or the purpose. Remember in like here, they're all accessible, so you could just have a script or a blueprint or something that toggles these on and off as you pick items up or something. So I thought, and then I looked at, there's probably better ways as well, but what I ended up looking a little bit at was something called, if I can even remember it now, let's see, I created, was it in miscellaneous or something? A data table. I think it was first. Was it in, okay, I'll search data table. I think it was one of these. And row structure or something. Pick row structure. Skeletal. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll open that project instead. I'll save all of this because I did actually mess around with this. So let's close this project. I can just show a little bit of how I got to. So let's go back into, let's see, where is Epic there? And launch engine. And I think it was in this one. I've broken this one. I don't, usually I'm not too afraid of breaking things. I just load stuff, and I've tried to get let's see, to work. Let's see, Control-3, press play. So that guy is, so this is very similar to what I was doing yesterday, but let's go into characters. Was it in here? I can't even remember where I put it. Blueprint cowboy. Here's where I was messing around with to learn it. Let's see, I did create something called tops, which was a data table. And how do I even get into this one? I can't even remember. Let's see. I had a timer event or something. I got table row names. This is not going to make any sense. I picked a random row from the data table. And if I found a row, I broke it into the tops item and set a new match on the top. Okay. I have no idea how I did that, apparently. But if we do, I should be able to look at this data table somehow. So if I double click on it, here. So here's what I did for this one. I created the data table with a row name and an item in it. And row structure. I had something called a row structure that I called F-tops. And basically I could just populate a bunch. I think there's a add here. And then you could create something called top orange. And then there was some way to set this value here, top orange or something, if I would have had an orange one. And then I could just add, and I saw that people do this when they create a data table for like weapons, for example. Let's say you had a weapon called, let's say you called it sword here or something. And then you could have, instead of item, it could have been values like damage and stuff. So I think it's a little bit similar in Unity to have a scriptable object where you have fields that you populate with different things like a data container. So yesterday when I was trying this one, I created this type of an asset. And let's see, we had a row structure here. There's the row structure. And this one I just created with one thing called one thing that I called item. And then the data type here is a skeletal mesh. And then I created the data here. Created this one, then the tops. And then I could just have it rotate again if I just bring it in to the cowboy script here. So I created on event play. I created a timer and that raised a custom event. So every 2 seconds it was looping. Then it goes to get table rows names. So that's the name of the different rows. And then it got the table. So this is how I learned it. I just sat and like Googled it, and then okay, data table, and then I searched like data table. I found it here, and I dragged it in, and I had to figure out. I like that they color coded all of the connectors here. It's quite useful. So it picks a random name from from the tops table or data table, and then it picks one of those, outs the rows, breaks it into and this is just to get the items because the out row will contain, if you had multiple things in there, it would contain like damage or health or something like that as well. So that's why I broke it. I think this is what I like as well. You can just drag, and I think it's quite. This context thing is super useful. So there's so many different nodes and stuff, but when you drag something out like this, I liked that it suggests, and then here's like literally break f-tops, and it only has item. So if I would have had more data fields in there, I could have done it. So then here's how it just changed. And then here's the other approach that I tried. I did apparently a select instead. And in the one that we just created today, I created an array instead. So there's so many different ways to solve the different problems. But what I have so far, I've found that the blueprints, I know you can do a lot of stuff like this to like name them, if I remember how you did it. I thought it was just to drag like this. There was stuff to, was it C? Oh yeah, C to comment. I like this. So hold C or something? No. Okay, I'd click and drag and then press C. All right, okay. So you should probably organize it really good. And I think they're very superior, the blueprint editor, the way all the nodes work and how you can arrange everything like this. So far that feels really, really solid. It feels, Unity's version feels really like primitive in comparison. So here's, I want to touch a little bit on what I think so far about the blueprint system then. So because Unity bought an asset called Bolt, which is a visual scripting tool for Unity. And I tried that. I created a video. If you check my history, maybe a year and a half ago, I created something in Bolt. And basically, that's just like programming. It's nearly like writing a C# script with boxes instead. I found it to be very, very similar to that. The difference that I feel in Unreal Engine is that they've taken it and populated it with so many more specific things for what you need to do. That's my gut or feeling so far. It feels like everything that you need to create a game, not to program, but everything that you need to create a game with characters behaving, you know, with skeletal mesh and how you can change these type of things. It feels like that is ready to go in the blueprint system, and I think it's existed for such a long time. When I did the visual scripting in Unity, it was more of a more annoying for me because it was like literally I was programming C# inside of it. Rather than assembling game components. So this feels much more, if I were to compare the two, it feels like Unreal Engine for me is a if you use the blueprint editor, of course. If you can do C++ programming, it's a different matter because then you can do anything you want, of course. But in order to make a full game in Unreal Engine, just using these type of blueprints, I think it's good to create, if I dare to say it, like a clone game of something. So like, let's say I wanted to make a first-person shooter with my own art assets, my own characters, and you'd probably even want to use the rig or the skeletons and stuff that comes with Unreal Engine. Then I think Unreal is super good for that. If you want to make a game that's totally quirky, let's say you wanted to do something like we're creating the RTS game with custom systems to draw all the commands in a world and having procedural generation of stuff, then I'd go for Unity so far any day of the week, I think. But if I'm going to create a platforming game, a shoot-'em-up game, a first-person shooter, a third-person shooter, anything like that, I really want to learn this because I think the blueprint system alone will get you very far into that. So what I did run into massive issues with, so one more thing I want to just speak about here, is I was hoping it would be as easy to just grab my character now and have the third person character to like, I just wanted to replace it with mine. So I tried that a lot. I think if I press play now, it'll look, so this is how far I got. It's like Titanic. It's the ship of dreams standing in the front. So it wasn't at all as simple as I thought to drag that in. And I tried to create my own blueprint class with skeleton stuff. And when I started to dig into this, here's where I really saw, okay, this is going to take me some time to learn. Because when I go into these type of blueprints, and then let's see if I can even get to, that was the, okay, I've closed something now that I don't even know where I am. That was the skeletal mesh. I want to go in here instead. Animations, maybe. How? So this is fine. No rocket science there. So I wanted to just change to my character for this animation blueprint, but I found out that you cannot. I was looking everywhere for a way. Okay, I want to replace this preview character with my own one now, and I want to replace anything that's targeting a specific leg or something. I wanted to do it, but I've googled it and I found out that you can retarget stuff onto different skeletons, but you cannot take an animation blueprint and then just switch out the character and hope that that will work. So that was a bit of a problem. And then I got into this where I started to, so if I double clicked on the animation graph here, and then when you go into stuff like the control rig here, I started to look into a lot of stuff like this. This is what's actually doing, I think, let's see, foot trace. Yeah, it's tracing down below the foot. So if you remember when I started the stream today, I saw that it's pretty cool that the foot is resting. If it's a slope, the right foot might be resting on that slope a little bit, on like this. And I figured I did follow along with this, how it works. And it detects if it should do the trace, and then it shoots like an invisible array from the foot, say about from here down to maybe a meter under the foot. And then it detects if it hits something, and then it offsets the foot in that direction, and then it, oh yeah, so it offsets the leg, so the inverse kinematics, and then you had to do it, I think, for both legs, I guess, yeah, and then you had to pick which foot should be the superior one, top and bottom, and then full body IK, and this is going to take me a long time to get used to learn all of it, but judging by all the pins that are here, there's like, I don't doubt that the possibilities there. It's just a matter of learning, unfortunately, the workflow and what you want to achieve, and then I think it'll go faster and faster as you learn. And then just navigating to the different things to see. So that was, let's see, main states. We got locomotion. I found it a little bit confusing as well when you go into these different all the time, that it creates like you get into a separate window, but I think again it's a matter of getting used to it. So when I did try to, I did go into here to the blueprints. I changed out here, and I changed in the game. Let's see, in the game state blueprint, I guess it was called. I did change to my own default pawn class, so it does spawn my own character, and then First, I tried to replicate the whole animation tree with foot IK and stuff. That didn't work first try, for sure. So I then tried to create my version of it with my own character. And I had to replace all the bones and stuff like that. So I had to create my own IK bones and stuff in here. I haven't gotten it to work at all yet, so I don't think I will necessarily get it to work either. So one thing that I did maybe consider would be the way to go for Unreal Engine when I started to look on Blender a little bit and on YouTube, was that people tend to use the rig. If I go in here, let's go to animations, is in here. Nope. Is it rigs, skeleton? I'm looking for a skeleton here. Okay, not there. It's probably hiding in there somewhere. Control rig. Nope. Oh yeah, this one. So I probably was in here. I just can't remember how you actually got to see the bones here. All hierarchy. So I'm thinking whether it's, I did see some videos that it recommended that you use this exact naming for the bones. And I also found out, because I rarely ever have fingers in my characters. Usually I either have just a blob of a fist or I have maybe a palm. But from what I understood, you cannot skip objects inside of the hierarchy. So you can't skip spine 3 or 4 or 5, apparently. But you don't have to go all the way out. So you could skip all the fingers here, or you just use the middle finger to represent the whole palm instead. Because this, I mean, my hierarchies, if you compare this rig hierarchy, which is super complex and often very much unnecessarily complex to what I need, this is what mine looks like for my games. Very, very much simple. I usually only have 2 spine bones for my low poly characters. I have sometimes like this, I don't even have a neck bone. I just have the head right on there. So my rigs are, if we look here in the armature root, let's hold the Alt key and expand here. Or Shift key. This is the way my rig looks like, and if you don't even count the eye case, that's all of it. Thumb, fingers, hand, blah blah blah. And here's the default mannequin rig. Because what I did understand is that if I used this rig and modeled the character, and even if I skipped a lot of the fingers and stuff like that, and then I imported it, then you can retarget the animation on top of it. And I think I can then reuse the entire, the way the mannequin was, or the original character was running here. Then I think I can reuse that one. But it's, I have a long way to go for that one. So let's check out some questions here. Finally, I'm gonna bring myself into full screen so you can see me. I've been in the corner. Nobody puts Imphenzia in the corner. Let's see. Where's my OBS? There we go. Full camera. That was a lot of talking. Questions. All right, so let's see. Breflabem, Imphenzia, for faster play in Unity. Oh yeah, I actually know this one. You can click Enter Play Mode option on, and I agree, it works, but be aware, because even though it runs faster when you press play, there's also issues where it doesn't compile everything that you need, so I've had some issues with it. So be careful when you do it. But it's early stages of prototyping, I found that it works really good. So copy and paste the animal the anim blueprint nodes. Okay, so that's good. So anim blueprint nodes. I'm not showing my screen now, I know, but all right, so I can copy all of the nodes into a new one. That's good to know. That's very good to know. So I'll try that. Let's check it out here. So is it true that Unreal games are very high in size? I don't know. I would have thought they tend to be big, but only because they have usually much more detailed art assets, I'd say. It's so much more... It seems... I haven't even tried the nanite stuff yet, but in terms of what it's capable of rendering, it'd be cool. What I was thinking that I could possibly do is this character that I have, as my own learning project, I was thinking I'll have the character configurable in different... so I have all the different mustaches, the beards, the hats and stuff. So if I can do it in Unity and in Unreal Engine, where it just creates maybe 10,000 characters with randomized clothing on, and then I was going to do Blueprint in Unreal Engine, and I think I'll just do the C# in Unity. And because I did see that the nav mesh stuff, well, so I say very easy, but it's quite easy to do in Unreal Engine and in Unity, where you just get random locations, so they walk on a nav mesh. So if I have 10,000 characters, I was going to have that maybe all the different cowboys just walk around, and then creates a simple animation tree and a detection. So in triggers in Unity, or there are overlap sphere events and stuff in Unreal Engine. I'm going to say this wrong all the time. Then when they get close to each other, I was going to have different data properties. So some characters randomly are faster than others, and some will kick, some will punch. And as they get close to each other, the AI characters, they'll just hit each other or try to hit each other, and one of them will knock the other one down. And then I was going to see if I could just get the AI nav meshes to target themselves, so they walk until there's only two. Can only be one. There can only be one. And then see how just wanted to see how easy to get those. I thought that was a good learning project, because it'll include some nav mesh stuff, it'll include animations, it'll include the blueprint stuff, some AI. Triggering volumes, very useful in games to have that, they can detect where a target is and set that as a navigation target. And also maybe the punching, very basic stuff, maybe just 3 punch and kick animations, which I've already done anyway, so I think that'd be pretty cool. So, and then I can maybe also do some profiling to see performance-wise how Unity compares, and it'd be fun to see what the blueprints are like. I think for performance they always say that you should go for the C++, but I have a feeling that for the basic stuff that I want to do, I hope and I feel that the blueprints should be pretty good for that. All right, will this be posted as a whole video because it looks like I missed a good stream? Yeah, it's gonna stay there, so you can just rewind. Can I get a rewind? And you can look at that for sure. Let's see, not even gamers level up, haha, said Mia. What do you mean not even? Did I say something stupid? Did I say something stupid? Probably. I'm sure I got told off for something. All right, so you can copy, and Mia said as well, you can copy and paste these nodes into your own. That's good. Okay, so I'm definitely, and then just try to some of the special ones. I don't even know how to navigate back, but there was one that really flipped me out. Let's go back into the screen. There was one, I don't even know which one it was. Did I go into, was it in here? No, this one was straightforward. Was I in here? Control rig here. This one, no, that was not bad either. I did go into one here that really freaked me out. I think blueprints always tend to look really, really messy. I mean, when I did my procedural plans for some of the materials, when you zoomed out and you go, no one's ever gonna have a clue what's going on there. But it often looks a little bit more complicated than it really is. It's just that you have to create a lot of these different boxes all the time for different things. But there was one, I really want to try to show it here, because, okay, which one was it? Blueprints, third person character. No, this one was basic too. So many tabs to open and stuff. Animations. Main state. No, I've been in here. Locomotion was there. Forward. No, I did go into one. You see, that was absolutely crazy. Can't remember now. I don't think there's any way getting around that. You just have to spend a lot of time to mess around in here. So the tutorial that I looked at, the actual course, was really good. It does show you how to create a first-person shooter, but it has very basic stuff in terms of that it's got a camera and you got the arms, so it's broken down the animations to very simple stuff. It's when you start to get into wanting to change the clothes and stuff. This is a typical example of scope creep, where if you wanted to create a game and you thought, oh, I'm gonna have customizable downloadable clothes, then that's probably not so smart to do in your first project. It's better in that case to just settle for like one character and get that to work, and don't worry so much about the different clothing stuff. I'm just doing that now to learn a little bit how the different things work. So let's see. But keep getting into the same ones. Oh, here's the one. This is the one that was freaking me out a little bit. So Mannequin Procedural Rig. I was like, okay, so there's some sort of a forward solve sequence. It goes in, left swing twist, and then it goes through this different thing of getting bone transforms, makes them relative, swing twist, interpolates, inverses, multiplies, sets bone rotation, la 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 la, and then it does it again for the next bone in the upper arm, and then it does lower arm, and then hand. So this is this sort of stuff I'm not sure. And then you have to do it again for the right side, and then I think this is for the legs or something. Yeah, thighs. So it feels like you'll get a lot of I don't know. You'll start to learn what components are there anyway, and usually this is only logic. So this here could have been like one line when you did a program instead. It would literally be like a little thing where it just says plus that one, -1, which is like this inverse node. Interpolate, it would have just said lerp instead, and then multiply is just a multiplication mark. So like this little sequence here, I don't know why I'm pointing, but this sequence here would have literally been in programming terms. It would have been something like this is not it, but like it could have been like var t equals like vector 3.right times 1.0 times minus blah blah blah, and then like brackets, and then so, and usually you have thousands of lines of code. So I think that's why just these turn out to be quite big for that nature. So all right, let's go back to the question board here. We got scroll up here. Tyler says that you can use C++ to expose functions, etc. to blueprints. That's cool. Yeah, I can imagine. That's one thing I really liked so far in Unreal Engine, is that it seems to be very, I already said that, but context driven, and a lot of the stuff is just there to get search and grab it and drag it in, so that's good. And now you can expose your own stuff. And when you define some here, it just appears there. That's super cool. I like it. All right, so let's see another at Imphenzia. We've got Tyler here again. There is an option to nativize blueprints to make them run faster when packaging. Okay, that's good. I can imagine I mean, some of the stuff looks complex, but it literally just compiles down to like a super simple thing. I would have thought, otherwise it would have been weird. And I can imagine in the editor, it's the same in Unity. It runs slower because it needs to visualize all these different things with like little animated blips and stuff. So when you compile it, I can imagine it goes a lot faster anyway. So let's see, Tyler, did you try to create new anim blueprint and then copy and paste the nodes? Okay, so no, I haven't tried that yet. I'm gonna try to do it and see if I can get it to work that way. And here, Devil Dog says you can retarget your own character if you rig it with the same bone structure. Exactly, that's the thing I'm gonna, unfortunately, the pain is trying to do that afterwards, because I've already created this character with all of those different animations. So if I rename the bones, a lot of the programs work in the way that they just look like simply enough for this hierarchy, and it'll say the keyframes how it's going to rotate them. So if I rename bones, it's a probability that I break a lot of the animations and stuff. But it might not, so I'm going to try to do it. My biggest issue here, trying to get it into the same structure, is that I've only got 2 spine bones, so that's going to be a problem. And I think if I rename something here, there's a high chance of it breaking. So, but I probably would do a new rig in that case. What I don't like about that instead is that I like to have stuff that works for both Unity. So if you look on this little script thing that I created here, okay, I don't know why it's gone now. I created a little my extension here. Where did it go? Play. Okay, I'm not even showing it anyway. All right, so let's have a look. Have you tried C++ Baki Pro Gamer? No, I don't think I've ever tried it, actually. I looked at it about 15 years ago, or if it was even just C there. And I got a bit scared when it comes to all the memory references and the syntax feels a bit foreign. Mad Mange, keep up from Gothenburg. Glad Påsk, thanks. Yeah, Glad Påsk back to you as well. And again, put at Imphenzia if you want to ask me something, because it's easier for me to see them. We have Tyler again. I use BP macros and functions, definitely, for sure. Those are really good. I like the way you could do that really neatly as well. That was, let's see, if I go back here, and I go into my own stuff, if I can even find it. So if I go into my cowboy, I did have something called blueprint here. Here's what I liked. I think you could do this right, where you just like marked things like this or something. Let's move this up first. Okay, I can select it. And there was something called promote, I think, right click and then promote to function, or collapse to function there. This is really neat. I am showing it right now. So for sure, that's really good. If you name them something other than custom function, of course, as well. You'd want to call it something nice. But that's a really nice feature. So I think you can really organize them quite good that way. Let's see. So we got chains relating. Everybody, please wishlist Line War multiplayer RTS. Thanks. Yeah. Ooh, it's coming soon. 5th of May, Line War is coming. So we're actually releasing it. It's going to be very exciting. So much work involved with it now, though. It's absolutely insane. Oh yeah, you can color the codes in the comment boxes. That's good as well. No one puts Imphenzia in the corner, you said. Yeah, exactly. So, oh right, okay, not even. Now I understand. So that that was actually speaking back to gamers level up. No, she puts me in the basement instead. Or I put myself on. Alright. Any more questions? Any more questions to Imphenzia? I've actually got a podcast interview coming up in 1 hour and 15 minutes. So, and I have to eat something before that. We got iCrevato. Hey, Stefan, loving your videos. Thanks. Glad you like it. It's fun to make them. Did you know you look a little like Herbert Grönemeyer? No, I didn't. Actually, who's that? I don't know. I'll have to look now. Let's see what that person looks like. I'm going to search Herbert Grönemeyer. Ah, okay. Yeah. He's got a big forehead just like me. I can imagine. Right. We got Catherall. Would you ever make a Dark Souls type of game for a video? I've never actually played Dark Souls type of game, so I don't know. So I'm open to make any type of game. I just need to scope them so I can actually cope with them. We got Hussein is asking Unity or Unreal, which one's better? I can't actually make any call like that. I think they're both absolutely fantastic for what they need to do. So it's totally like what you're comfortable with using, what you know, what you want to try to achieve. If performance is the thing that you're cared about, if you want to use platform compatibility, mobile games, Unity. So there's no way to put like which one's better. They're both great tools. It's like trying to compare a lorry and a Ferrari or something. So Ferrari is pretty good if you want to go somewhere fast, and the lorry is pretty good if you want to have stuff with you. So, which podcast? Do you know what? I can't even remember the name of it. Let's have a look. I'm gonna check now. It is the podcast I'm going to be participating in very shortly. It's going to be both me and Christian. We got interviewed by Screen Rant the other day, actually. It was pretty cool. So I think it's with the release of the game coming up now, we're starting to get a little bit more interest shown. So let's see. I have to go in. I've got so many different profiles as well, like company profiles and my own profiles, inboxes left and right. It's Game Wisdom. We're gonna have an interview with podcast. Okay, let's have a look. More question. Tyler is saying again, are you doing a cross-developer interview with Harton Media? Team making Sanctuary. We're going to speak to them actually. So Sanctuary, there's what's his name? I forget his name now. He's super friendly and nice guy. Tato or something. Let's see. Tatsu. So I've been speaking to him. We're gonna have we're gonna speak about RTS. It's just been so busy to try to get the time to work out for that co-op interview. All right, there's almost 100 episodes on how to make your Dark Souls game, like on YouTube. That's crazy. Then I should probably not do that. Thanks, Tyler. Exactly, Tatsu it is. So AR app development, Unity is working well. Does Unreal offer unique features? I don't know. So I'm so new to Unreal Engine so far, but I'm really looking forward to learning it more. I think it's got real potential. I'm looking forward to creating like the top-down thing, a vehicle test, and then I saw that there's a template already for AR and VR stuff, so it's pretty cool. Like you started Unreal, will you try Godot? Exactly, I'm gonna do that. Maybe next week I'll start. I'll do another episode called because I'm not gonna be able to progress so far in Unreal so very fast. So I'm gonna be like spending my spare time to do that little side project, so I can learn it. And then next week, on next Thursday, I'll try Godot engine for the first time. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna come in totally blind to that one as well and mix everything up. But it's gonna be very interesting to see. All right, let's have a look. Let's see. Let's set the time. I'm gonna finish the stream at 9 o'clock. So we've got 11 minutes, my friends. Well, let's just have a look. Let's keep chatting. And then I've got 1 hour to eat before the podcast, which is pretty good. And more coffee, of course. And påskmust. I've tidied the room, actually, behind me. I feel quite happy about that. And my son actually got... I'm going to get... Hold on. I'm going to go and grab something. My son made this in syslöjden. It's a pillow with my logo on that he done. So he sewed this, and it says Imphenzia is the best. So this is taking place next to my YouTube award there. So I'm I was very happy to see this one. Such a kind. So nice sometimes when the kids come home and surprise you like that. Okay, so can we expect more Blender to UE workflows? For sure. I think the workflows are such an important part when you create characters and stuff, especially characters with bones and armatures and animations. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put my own the Blender plugin. So I've got my script working now, and it does a lot of, scripting some of the stuff that you want to do is really, really useful. Especially when you have those repetitive things. When if that's the way you have to do it, to export all the FBX files as individual assets, it's just, you don't want to do that manually. So having a script that just quickly iterates over them and spits them out with the correct settings and stuff will save you so much time. So I'm definitely gonna try, and I want to make the script so you can select the character and export it for Unity, Unreal, and Godot. In that case, that would be quite neat if it could do that. The problem there, of course, is the naming scheme. If it's important that the bones are in the correct way, then I'm sort of leaning towards making a generic reusable that I can also share. So a generic skeleton that goes with the base names, made for low poly, but it's going to use the same base name as the Unreal Engine rig. If that saves a lot of time in Unreal Engine to have all the locomotion stuff work out of the box, then maybe it's good to have that sort of workflow, and then in Unity it should import regardless. I don't really like necessarily that I have to have so many spine bones, because the performance does get affected. So let's say in Line War, for example, we have all these little infantry guys, and it's very important that those meshes have very simple bones. If I had like an Unreal armature or the skeleton hierarchy for all of those characters, it would have been a nightmare. It would have been so badly performing, even in Unreal Engine, because when you have 1,000 of those that needs to animate, then it's no good. There's so much unnecessarily. So it's you don't want to have 5 spine bones and a neck bone. You just literally want to have 1 spine bone and 1 head bone or something. So it's a shame if you're conformed to that one. So I'm going to see if I can get something going and a workflow that will take that locomotion stuff and paste it onto symbols. So thanks a lot for the tips there to try to copy those nodes over to my own blueprint. And then it's just a matter of getting used to it, like sitting and grinding over and over again and switching. Because I find myself, like when I switch between the control rig, the blueprint, the animation blueprint, the transition views of the blueprints, and then I get so lost in and out of the different workflows. So it's just a matter of grinding. I don't think there's any shortcut to being really fast in there. It's just a matter of practicing. R. Wells, which engine is the Ferrari? That's a good question. I realized when I said that I was what I was just trying to say is that there's 2 different type of tools to create different type of things. So regardless of it, it's just 2 different vehicle types. Let's say it's a digger and a lorry instead then, or something. Or a truck. Then you're gonna ask which one's the truck code. Let's say it's a Swiss Army knife and a machete. Where the Swiss Army knife, so far I'd say that Unity is more of the Swiss Army knife, where it's got like all these different and I'd say that here we go. So here's my true take on this one. I might be totally wrong on this one, but the way I feel it is that Unity was developed as a game engine to support making of any type of game. I think they looked at like what you need, the whole prefab hierarchy stuff, the way the particle systems, the animating states and the state machines and everything, how that works. It feels like they set out to create a game engine that you should be able to create any type of game in it. Let's say it's a mobile, let's say it's a platform or like a console or a PC or a web browser game. That was their design philosophy, I think, when they went out to set it. So they built everything around that. I think Unreal obviously came from the likes of Unreal Tournament and the first Unreal games, and then it's evolved all it over times. So I think they approached it from creating an engine, nearly like a level editor, but a really capable one, to create that type of a game, to make them be able to create and release their game. And then that's moved more towards a game engine, and they've started to implement things to make it more flexible, to make it more of a, they need more vehicles in the games, they need like different types of things, the AR and stuff. But I sense everything when I go in, that a need has occurred something in Unreal Engine, that they needed something, they create something, and then they put a details panel and they have everything pluggable there, and it's just a matter of like knowing where to go, where it's exposed in order to do it. That's my feeling so far. So it feels, recap, Unity was designed as a multi-purpose game engine, and is very good at that. And Unreal Engine, it comes from being able to make a specific type of games with those type of characters and locomotion and animations and shooting and stuff really good. And then it's evolved more towards a generic game engine. That's how I feel it. Hope that makes sense. How do I speak so long about something so small? Game Reaper, have you done any game rigging and animating in UE5, and would you recommend it over Blender? No, I haven't tried it yet. I've not tried it at all yet, so I don't even know which one would be the best. If it's better to do the actual game animation stuff and rigging inside Blender. I think if you're doing a lot of IK stuff, so then it would make more sense to do it inside of Unreal Engine. Okay, so have you ever played Skyrim? Would you ever want to make something like that? So here's one thing. I have never played Skyrim, but I did actually see my friend Jim, who's usually in the chat here every now and then. He showed me a little bit. He showed me some funny bugs actually. But I've learned, again, what you spoke about that earlier, about the scope. It's try not to get too ambitious. I've had different people contact me over the years, and I speak about this quite often. And it's like, it's really good to have high ambitions, and I've literally been contacted with people saying, can we team up? It's the three of us. We're going to create a game like Fortnite, but with 500 players instead, and it's going to be better graphics and a bigger world. And even though it's really good to have ambitions like that, it's like you couldn't do it. It's like you have to be realistic a little bit of what you can achieve. So when I translate something like that, I'm usually like, I'm thinking, if I'm going to do something myself, I'll take the concept of a game like that and I'll scale it down in that case to something really, really small, where I'll have like low poly objects. Instead of having 500 players, it's like a smaller world, maybe with some procedural generation, so you can have content that grows and stuff. But it's really, really important to be realistic about what's achievable, because otherwise, we spoke about the motivation and problems, and if you start on a project like that and you get into it, then it's just becomes like Mount Everest to climb, which is going to be difficult. Let's see, Mirko, hello Imphenzia, I've just connected, but I'll see the video complete later. Well, that's a good solution. You could do that. All right, you and Polyfjord got me into Blender. He or she does really good stuff. I've seen some of the, I think it's Polyfjord, or I'm thinking about something else. Maybe I'll have to look. I'll have to Google. Okay. All right. Do you know what? I'm gonna finish there so I can eat some stuff now before the podcast stuff. So I hope you found something useful out of today. I know it's not like I'm not able to teach anything, but I'm quite happy to share my progress on learning things and the way I feel about different things and what's good and bad. And hopefully I can become quite good at this so I can create some crossover tutorials and teach it. I think it's much better to do those in compact video forms instead, because I notice when I stream, it's probably because I'm getting up there as well, but I'm like going in and out of tabs and I'm like, where am I? I'm totally lost. Maybe it's a bit of a, I don't know, stage fright or something. You're like, I have to find where the thing was, where I was doing. Whereas when I sit on my own, I'm like, no. Just do it like that instead. So, say this, Imphenzia is the best. Thanks. Appreciate that. Line War 2 in Unreal Engine 5, Imphenzia. Yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I'm impressed so far by the engine, and I'm looking forward to learning it. So, That's it. That's going to be it for this week. I say that. And do you know what? I've prepared a little surprise for everyone. So this one, I won't leave you hanging, so to speak. So come back next Thursday for another video. Until then, have a great time. Be productive. Have a good time. Learn stuff. Do Blender. Do on game dev stuff and whatever the thing is that you do. So until next week, have a great one. And I'll see you then. Bye for now. I found it.